Hello and good day, Mike Adcock with an update on an area of low pressure right now located in the Western Caroline Islands. This briefing is based on data through 9 Zulu on the 11th of September. Now, very interesting situation with this storm. Officially per Tokyo, they are the official agency that has typhoon responsibilities in the Western Pacific. Right now, they're calling this a low pressure area, so that's I'm following suit by calling it as such. That being said, JTWC earlier this morning upgraded this into a tropical depression, numbering it 15W. Pagasa joined alongside. They're calling it a tropical depression as well. Not receiving a name, Pagasa does issue names for all depressions. Because the system hasn't quite entered into the Philippine area of responsibility. Should here very soon. Right now we're waiting for it to cross over into about 135 degrees longitude. So it's right there. I imagine the evening update from Pagasa, it will go ahead and call this storm Tropical Depression Luis. However, do want to provide information. Now, this data here, what you're seeing on the screen, is from the National Weather Service in Guam. There is an agreement that whenever JTWC issues tropical storm or tropical cyclone advisories within the Guam area of responsibility, they will take that information and issue their own. So here is that data. As of 6 p.m. local time there in Palau. Center of circulation was estimated about 400 kilometers north of Yap, or about 710 kilometers to the northeast of Palau. Now here's the thing, look at how fast it's moving. It's moving off to the northwest at 37 kilometers per hour. That's a very fast pace. For a weak storm such as this, you want it to be as slow as possible so it has time to get that circulation really wrapped up, and you're not seeing that with this. It's moving too fast, so it still has a lot of wave-like properties. To be very honest with you, take a look at it and take a look at the Dvorak analyses. Both JTWC and NESDIS are going about 2/10 convection wrap on Dvorak, so that shakes out to about a T1.0, possibly a T1.5. So this is very weak for a tropical depression. And honestly, I'm surprised that JTWC pulled the trigger. Usually it's JMA that's very, they tend to be a little more progressive, or I should say aggressive, on calling things a tropical depression. I think it's inverse this particular time. Regardless, JTWC and National Weather Service Guam are calling this 50 kilometer per hour winds, so still just under tropical storm strength, and pressure very high at 1,008 hectopascal. Now switching over to the RGB loop, I kind of want to just spell out how everything is laid out. Here is our tropical depression, or low pressure area, if you will. Not a whole lot of well-defined circuit. I mean, you do see there is that area of low pressure. There is that rotation going along, but it's not consolidated. It has some good convection earlier. That's raced off to the southwest. So it is a very ragged looking system. What we are keeping an eye on is an area of high pressure that's trying to wedge itself between our depression, or our low near Palau, as well as this wide area of instability here to the southeast of Japan. That's going to slowly develop into a frontal boundary over the next few days. That will have later on some implications to the forecast track of this system. Another thing I want to point out, notice there is a weak area of low pressure, or a trough of low pressure, that extends from central China across to Taiwan and northern Luzon. That's also going to help influence the future track of this system. So take a look at the surface analysis from JMA at 6 Zulu. Here is our area of low pressure. Again, currently moving off to the west-northwest. But notice, again, here is that weak area of low pressure. That's going to help influence this system more northwestward. Additionally, here's our low. That's going to continue to develop into a trough that's going to move eastward. And that's also going to help pull this system northward. A matter of fact, if we look at the JMA forecast for tomorrow morning, Friday morning, you do see they do declare it a tropical depression, have lowered the pressure down to 1,006 hectopascal. But also notice that this area of low pressure has developed frontal characteristics. This is starting to look more and more like the bayou boundary has reinvigorated itself. Again, this is really creating an area of low pressure that's going to help influence this system more northwestward. And if we actually take a look Saturday morning, you do see the system gaining more and more latitude. All right, so what does this mean later on down the road? Well, I think JTWC kind of does a good job at explaining the impacts. Okay, again, the biggest challenge in the near term, not so much the track. We know where the track's going to go. It's the intensity. Does this system start to slow down, consolidate, and develop? The longer it takes to do so, the less likely it's going to strengthen into a typhoon later on. That being said, pretty much all the models do forecast it to slow down. You start to see that, especially as we get into the week and the slower forward progress. That's allowing for intensification, and pretty much everybody right now is looking at impacts there in the Cagayan Valley there in northeastern Luzon. Earlier today, if you follow me on Twitter, I made the comment about how Taiwan, you're definitely, and all of Luzon, all of eastern Luzon, definitely going to have to continue to monitor the progress of this storm, because, again, with a weak system, it's going to take a while for it to develop. And so the confidence in the models is a little bit shaky. But starting to look at those models, we're starting to see some consensus with it. NavGem was a little bit further north. They were looking more at a Taiwan impact. It's dropped it further south. We were looking at some of the other models, bringing it further south in Luzon. That's come northward. So again, northeastern or the northern parts of Luzon, definitely looking at impacts there in and around the Cagayan Valley. Of course, don't get fixated at that. We're still talking, this is going to be Monday evening, Tuesday morning, so plenty of time for things to change. I did pull this from our good friends over at tropicaltidbits.com. What this is the Jeff's ensembles, and what that is it's a model that, or how an ensemble works is we introduce new initial parameters, and then rerun the model. And what that does is it just kind of shows different scenarios that may play out. Now, what I like to look at there, take a look at the first 2 to 3 days. You notice that the spaghetti, if you will, is very, very consolidated. That gives us pretty high confidence in the forecast track, and that's where you see that black line kind of cutting it in the middle. And there's a pretty good confidence that that's going to happen. Now, after 72 hours, you start to see a little bit of a spreading, but again, still looking at impacts in and around the Cagayan Valley. So this is going to be an impact or an issue most likely for northern Luzon. Once we do get into the South China Sea, then things kind of spread out. But still, really from Hong Kong westward into northern Vietnam, to include Hainan Island, you will have to monitor the progress of this system. Intensity forecast does bring this into at least a tropical storm, and actually all of them bring it into typhoon status. So again, we'll have to see. You're looking at like H-Wharf in 2 days as a typhoon. I think that's a bit bullish. Getting into 3 days, with the GFDN. We'll have to see how that actually plays out, but it definitely serves us or warrants attention over the next few days. Not much to speak of on the surface weather plots. You do see some showers out toward Guam. That's really associated with some convection that's east of our low pressure area. Go ahead, take a look at what's going on over at Yap right now. Pretty light winds. Right now no precipitation. It's all cloudy skies over there. The pressure, though, note that 1,007.3 hectopascals, rather high, especially for a tropical depression rolling through. You would really want to see that pressure a few hectopascal lower before we really take this seriously as an internal or as a near-term risk of development. Of course, we're going to continue to monitor the progress of this storm over the next few days over at westernpacificweather.com. Feel free to follow us on the social media Links there down below. You could also join in on the conversation at storm2k.org. My social media contacts there are there below as well. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great day and take care.